Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist, a student of natural law, and an energy practitioner. And we are studying the Kybalion by the three initiates. And we're in the 14th chapter, Mental Gender, and we're on page 95. And I'm just wondering if everyone who participated last week did observe the difference between the I and the me. The I being connected to the higher self and the me being connected to the bodily desires in themselves this week. I had an experience this week where I encountered a narcissist who wanted to derail me from um, a planned topic meeting that I have started in person. And the person, that person is used to getting his way. He's used to having people hang on his every word. He's a honeyfuggler. He's a good talker. He says a lot of weird things, like a lot of phrases and a lot of sound good uh, things but if you really listen to what he says, he really isn't saying anything at all. And he expected me to just bow down before him and let him run his mouth for this hour-long meeting that I was holding. And he was the only participant. But I did not. I chose the I over the me. Yes, the me saw him coming and was like, oh my God, I don't want to deal with this guy. But the I held the integrity of the meeting and I prayed a lot because I feel like the guy is probably possessed by a demonic entity, which makes him like this. It's an egoic um, form that he is embodying. And he can't really be happy truly, but he likes to, get off on making people bow to his wishes. And um, I just didn't. We were going through a book that I have reviewed, and um, I had questions, and I stuck to my questions. And I argued with him when he said everything's fine in the world. And I looked to my book and I gave him information that he didn't have. And I was choosing the I, which is the person who spent the time to review the book and get ready for the meeting. And it was definitely a sparring match, a mental sparring match, but I felt like it was some kind of spiritual test that I went through. And I knew that I was practicing mental gender while I was going through it. So that's my experience for this week. And I hope other people will um, take the challenge in this time when the dark occult Luciferians want us to choose the me. They want us to choose our comfort and our convenience. They don't want us to choose um, our truth and seek help from unseen forces at all. They want to be our higher power. They want to make the laws. They want to obfuscate natural law. So here I am on page 95, second paragraph. It says, but as man rises in the scale of consciousness, he is able to disentangle his me from his idea of body and is able to think of his body as belonging to the mental part of him. But even then, he is very apt to identify the me entirely with the mental states, feelings, etc., which he feels to exist within him. He's very apt to consider these internal states as identical with himself instead of there being simply things produced by some part of his mentality and existing within him, of him, and in him, but still not himself. He sees that he may change these internal states of feelings by all effort of will and that he may produce a feeling or state of an exactly opposite nature in the same way, and yet be the same me, and yet the same me exists. And so after a while, he's able to set aside these various mental states, emotions, feelings, habits, qualities, characteristics, and other personal mental belongings. He's able to set them aside in the not me collection of curiosities and encumbrances, as well as valuable possessions. This requires much mental concentration and power of mental analysis on the part of the student, but still the task is possible for the advanced student, and even those not so far advanced are able to see in the imagination how the process may be performed. Well, I find that I can do this as a result of only a few sessions of Qigong, um, as well as all the other spiritual work I've been doing for the last 30 plus years. I can't discount that because I guess if I was a beginner to spiritual work, it would be much harder for me to do this, but I have gone through this and many things like it for 30 plus years. And I've started doing Qigong now because of how crazy things are right now, and I don't want anything to sway the I in me. I want the I in me to be strong, stronger than the me in me, and I want to be able to find a quiet, calm pillar within myself and be able to go to that when things are upside down. I have a friend who lives outside of Asheville, North Carolina, and I've been speaking with her on text message for the last week, helping her to pray and ask for guidance and to pause and to seek um, calmly the higher power's will for her. She's lost everything and she's going to have to move. And I've been funneling her information from here. And now we have another hurricane, HARP created hurricane coming. And, it's obvious to me this part of the eugenics agenda, um, as well as creating extreme chaos so that when the globalists want to just pack up the United States and put it in a suitcase and carry it off with them, it'll be easier for them to do that because everything will have been destroyed physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally for most of the inhabitants. But I don't want that to happen to me. Therefore, I have been embarking on a rigorous Qigong practice, and um, I do see this mental gender as part of what I now am able to accomplish. I don't have to respond or react to any outside emergency, supposed emergency. I can just go within and find calm, and that's my goal. Now, I challenge everyone to do this because the more people who do this, the less available we will be to being tyrannized, taken over. Even if the collective is taken over, we can still maintain our freedom within our own center. You know, I don't have high hopes for the collective, to be honest, at this time. Things have gotten to be so extreme. However, anyone who's watching this video is still seeking, and I recommend applying this information in a rigorous manner so that you can remain free through all of this chaos that is being created. There's no reason to fear because we have access to these principles as long as we adhere to natural law and pray to the higher power, the creator, in a non-religious sense. I mean, if you're religious, that's fine if it works for you. But if you're not, all this is still available to you as long as you live by natural law, meaning that you treat others the way you would like to be treated. Now, of course, in the system, we're always going to fail. There's going to be some place that we're not going to be able to fully practice. You know, there's so many things in the system that violate other beings' rights. In fact, there's no way to live in the system without violating other beings' rights. But you can do the best you can with it. And you can pray for the other things, the other situations that you know that you're violating. You can pray for help with that. And at least you will be aware of it. You won't be ignoring it. You won't be burying your head in the sand. Like everything that's going on. I know so much of things that are going on. It's just unbelievable what I know. Um, but um, I don't ignore what I know. I just pray for things that I don't have the power to change. I just tell God, please take care of this situation. It's abhorrent. It's a violation of natural law. It's terrible, but I can't stop HARP from mixing up the air and killing off billions of people and ruining billions of dollars worth of property. And I can't. In a way, this is the end times, perhaps, but it's not. Nature is not causing that. The global elite, through their order following minion, are creating that for us because they've decided they want to reduce the population to 500 million so it's easier to manage or whatever the hell it is by 2030. So my job is to maintain a calm center through all of this. I don't like it. I'm upset about it. I'm sad about it. I'm depressed. I have like low-grade depression about it, especially for the young people or in parents who have young adult children. I'm grateful I don't have that, honestly, right now. But none of us gets out of here alive. So it's about how I treat the person in front of me and how I embrace the information that I have absorbed and digested and do the best I can with it. But I can be a good contributor to freedom by not being a reactor. After this laying aside process has been performed, the student will find himself in conscious possession of a self, capital S self, which may be considered in its I and me dual aspects. The me will be felt to be a something mental in which thoughts, ideas, emotions, feelings, and other mental states may be produced. It may be considered as the mental womb, as the ancients styled it, capable of generating mental offspring. It reports to the consciousness as a me with latent powers of creation and generation of mental progeny of all sorts and kinds. Its powers of creative energy are felt to be enormous, but still it seems to be conscious that it must receive some form of energy from either its I companion or else from some other I ere it is able to bring into being its mental creations. This consciousness brings with it a realization of an enormous capacity for mental work and creative ability. So, in other words, this time in 1908, what they're talking about is that the me was subservient to the I, meaning subservient to the higher power. Like I would pray and ask for guidance. I would receive intuition, and then I would set my lower self in motion to create what I was intuitively guided to create. But the dark occult Luciferians have been working very hard to separate the me from the I. They want to become the I for people. So they have been entertaining and distracting the me with all sorts of different electronics, smartphone apps, smartphones, the internet, social media, and trying to get people to forget about being connected and being calm and being centered. And I'm saying we could have it all back exactly the way it was if we um, relegated this technology to its proper place as our servant rather than us being its servant. You know, every time you use your credit card, you pay the bank twice. Using cash, which may be less quote unquote convenient, supports anonymity and freedom. So therefore, if you use your credit card all the time, you are in service to technology rather than technology serving you, even though it feels in the moment like it's so cool, how convenient, blah, blah. No, you're paying the bankers twice, your fees and the fees of the other person, other entity or store or whatever. So the bank is making twice their fees and just selling you some convenience lie. Um, so that's just one. Sorry, there was a loud noise. I don't know what it was. There was a loud noise. Um, that's just one um, example of how this technology and convenience are destroying our freedom. You know, there's probably a million people out there right now who buy their food through um, like a service delivers their food to them packaged and ready to eat. I don't know if people know about this. Probably they do. It's pretty popular. That is us completely being servants to technology. Go back to making your own food out from scratch. You know, that's just another singular aspect. Stop buying things. Here's a challenge. Keep track of every single thing you spend for 3 months. Carry a little memo pad and write down every single thing you buy. That'll be eye-opening for you. Um, that's the me. The me is buying stuff. The I, if the I was developed meditatively, you could consider, do I really need to buy this thing or not? Do I need to buy it? But you'll see, if you keep track of every single thing you buy for 3 months, every single thing, you'll be amazed. Let's see, where am I? But the student soon finds that this is not all that he finds within his inner consciousness. He finds that there exists a mental something, capital S, which is able to will, capital W, that the me act along certain creative lines, and which is also able to stand aside and witness the mental creation. This part of himself he is taught to call his I. He's able to rest in its consciousness at will. So this is what happens when you meditate. You develop the observer self, and that's what they're talking about. The observer self, which is connected to the higher self, which is connected to the creator. He finds there not a consciousness of an ability to generate and actively create in the sense of the gradual process attendant upon mental operations, but rather a sense and consciousness of an ability to project an energy from the I to the me, a process of willing that the mental creation begin and proceed. He also finds that the I is able to stand aside and witness the operations of the me's mental creation and generation. There is this dual aspect in the mind of every person. The I represents the principle, capital P principle, principle PLE, principle. The I represents the aspect of being, the me, the aspect of becoming. You will notice that the principle of correspondence operates on this plane just as it does upon the great plane upon which the creation of universes is performed. The two are similar in kind, although vastly different in degree. As above, so below, as below, so above. These aspects of mind, the masculine and feminine principles, the I and me, considered in connection with the well-known mental and psychic phenomena, give the master key to these dimly known regions of mental operation and manifestation. The principle of mental gender gives the truth underlying the whole field of the phenomena of mental influence, etc. The tendency of the feminine principle is always in the direction of receiving impressions, while the tendency of the masculine principle is always in the direction of giving out or expressing. The feminine principle has much more varied field of operation than has the masculine principle. The feminine principle conducts the work of generating new thoughts, concepts, ideas, including the work of the imagination. The masculine principle contents itself with the work of the will, capital W, in its varied phases. And yet, without the active aid of the will of the masculine principle, the feminine principle is apt to rest content with generating mental images which are the result of impressions received from outside, instead of producing original mental creations. So, in the old days, a while back, we used to say, just go with the flow, the path of least resistance. But we can't do that anymore because humanity is in a state of entropy now, which is a natural inward flow of energy back to, you know, death, really. There will be a new birth of creation as well. It's a natural inflow. See, this is like the inward and outward. It's natural, but it's a really unpleasant time. And the thing is we have to exert our willpower at this time. And if you don't have access to willpower of your own, then you can pray for willpower from the Creator. Then, therefore, it would be capital W will, as it is in this book. And then you can gain access to unlimited power to perform the right action. That's the I. The I would perform right action. And the me is used to getting its way these days because it's being catered to. This is what they're doing to try to take us over, is like I've already said, they're trying to distract the me and get the me to just focus on petty baloney rather than on higher new thought, new neocortex functions. They're trying to polarize the left and the right brain, the masculine and the feminine brains, into opposite sides so that they're not connected. But what they're saying here is that they are connected, and if we just will focus on, say, meditation and asking for the will of the Creator in our actions, and pause. Like even on social media, that would be a good place to think about this. Like, is what I'm about to say kind, helpful, tolerant? Is it necessary? If it's not kind, is it necessary? Is it really going to do anything except make people feel crappy? Is that what you want, to make people feel crappy? Because when people feel crappy, they buy stuff. Really, it would be great if everybody felt uplifted. That's what we're trying to do, raise our frequency above the frequency that is being perpetrated by the dark occult Luciferians. That's what's being talked about here. And, the way to do this would be to have a meditation practice, do yoga, do qigong, start to manage your energy, be prayerful. And when I say be prayerful, I mean every minute on the in breath and the out breath. Be prayerful because we're in dark times right now. And so these principles give us a new way of looking at things. If you don't happen to be religious, like which I am not religious, I do not participate in a religion. I have deities which I worship, which will remain anonymous, God, the creator, but it's non-denominational. And nature, I love nature, but I'm not really going to get into all that, what exactly I do or whatever. But I absorb these principles and I consider my every action and I filter every action through these principles. And I ask myself if I am part of the solution or part of the problem with every action I take. So I'm thinking we're going to stop there. There's still a few pages left of this chapter, and I'm not going to um, go any further because it's very heavy material. So until next time, I hope that you guys will try this out and make it work for you. Until next time.